Yeah, my name is DJ Mark C of the legendary Collins Brothers, and you're watching the B Shine. Well, me and my brother started back in late 74, 75. I got an uncle who was stage manager for Parliament Funkadelic, my uncle Scooter. And he used to take us on the road with him, and we seen the production shows behind the scenes on how P-Funk used to get it in. So when we come back to Mount Vernon, we just started incorporating what we learned on the road, playing it like, as kids do. We was reminiscing and imagination. We had fake friends and all this and all that. And I was 12, 13 years old at the time. So we started doing this, man. I was real young. And what got me into the hip-hop culture was when I saw Kool Herc for the first time. Now, before Kool Herc, there was P. DJ Jones, but P. DJ Jones wasn't hip-hop. But he the one that introduced me to the turntablism, when you mixing turntables and records back and forth. So I got to give a lot of credit and shout out to Pete DJ Jones. But it was Kool Herc that really, far as it come to hip hop, that got me interested in it. Well, one of the strongest impact on me was when we was out in Brooklyn and we was doing a park jam out in the park for my aunt. She called us out there to just come play some music. And what she did, she rented a gym from the school. And while we was inside, there was a group outside playing music outside. And when we went outside and asked them to turn the music down so we can do what we was doing inside, it became like a little hassle because we was charging money to get in. So we didn't make no money that night. I remember that. Yeah, my first set of turntables that was matching now, because I had turntables, but I had a dual and I had a Technique. They wasn't matching turntables. I took my father's stereo system out the house. A friend of mine named Mikey G let us use his other turntable. So I had a dual turntable and a electrophonic turntable. And that was my first set of turntables. But my actual first set of matching turntables, my Uncle Scooter took us down to this place called the Sound Room down in Manhattan. He took us down there, he opened up his credit card, and he brought us two SL20 turntables. They was Techniques. And we got ready to leave the store, but the guy that was working on commission, the attendant at the store, he asked us what we was going to do with the turntables, and we told him that we was going to mix. So he said, well, if you're going to mix, then you need a mixer. And at the time, the only thing we had was a Radio Shack mic mixer. So he introduced us to a Clubman 101 mixer on that day. So when we left the store, we had two matching turntables, SL23s, and a Clubman 101 mixer. We went from doing house parties to doing park jams. We went from doing park jams to doing parties in centers and clubs where we was actually making money. Because, in the park jams, there wasn't no money, but it was exposure. We got a lot of exposure. So when we started taking it indoors and started charging people to come in, then we was filling gymnasiums up to the point that the floors and the walls was sweating. Then we knew we was on to something. But what really got us our name out there was our sound system, man. That sound system, it's legendary. Like the Collins Brothers is legendary, that King Kong sound system, man, to this day, it still reigns supreme. We've been musicians for a while. My brother played drums, I played saxophone, and I played trombone. Not to the point where I can go out here and do something live, but I dibble-dab, and I dropped all that, man. I put the trombone down, I put the saxophone down, my brother put the drums down. So when we got the turntable things, my mother and father said, listen, y'all ain't gonna do this like y'all do the other things. If y'all gonna take this serious, then y'all need to be more serious about it. And it was the passion that we had in our heart. I love playing trombone, I love playing saxophone, but the passion wasn't there. But when I got a hold of those two turntables, I knew I found my niche. I knew that gift that God put in me on those two turntables, and from that point forward, man, we just took it serious. I met MC Slice, and he was rocking with another crew at first. And the party that we was at, I'm listening to it, I'm hearing them, and I had other MCs. I don't know if a lot of people don't know this, but DJ Red Alert's brother, Kenny was MCing for us back in 74, 75. And that's how me and Red got to come to know one another, because through his brother Kenny. So Kenny was by the name Bongo at the time. And Bongo used to come up, get on the microphone, and Slice was rocking with the other crew. So I was like, yo, if I put these two together, we can make things happen. So I introduced Bongo to Slice, and they hit it off. And then next thing you know, we add a couple of more elements, which was Bamboo and Papa Doo Jam and Wayne Will. And before we know it, we had a force MCs, And Rome Z, God bless him, and Mikey D, and it's just a lot of elements, man. When you say hip-hop, these are elements of hip-hop that people don't mention. You know, and it's the essence, man. When you go back to the beginning, to the essence of hip hop, I mean, it was the love, man, that we had in our heart. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about no big contracts. You know, it wasn't about no fame and fortune. It was about coming out to the park and showing and representing your skills. One of the biggest challenges was women, because with the fame, all right, and with the exposure, and with the popularity comes the females. You know, and a lot of times, you know, you jumping from one female to another female to another female, which is not good. I don't condone it, because females will get you caught up and you lose focus. And that's what happened. We lost focus on a lot of things, man. Record deals, contracts we supposed to sign, we run around chasing cootie all over the place. But we young. I'm talking about 15, 16 years old. You know, and one of the other obstacles was the drugs. You know, that plays an important part when you out there doing what you're doing. That's an element that comes involved. And if I could say one thing, stay away from the drugs. The females you could overcome. Stay away from the drugs. One is putting Mount Vernon on the map. Money earning Mount Vernon. That slogan, that phrase right there, that's my phrase. All right. We was doing a party with Cool DJ AJ at Harlem Prep High School in Manhattan. And MC Busy B was repping Money Making Manhattan. And he was dissing Mount Vernon, not in the sense of like, yo, stay in your lane, stay in your place, but, you know, just so they can say, yo, this Manhattan, this is where y'all at. So Mount Vernon's still learning, Mount Vernon's still learning. And I was like, I couldn't let him get away with that. So I sat out by the turntables and I was thinking, what can I come up to get a catchphrase to counter what he's saying? And it hit me. Yo, it's not Mount Vernon's still learning, it's Money Earning Mount Vernon. And from that night on, that's where Money Earning Mount Vernon came in effect. Now, you want to talk about the Heavy D's and the Pete Rocks and the CL Smooths and the DJ Eddie F's and all of them, they all came up on our wing. We was doing parties in Mount Vernon, and they was behind the ropes, man. And then we taught them the essence of turntablism, taught them the essence of mixing and things like that. And Heavy D was an intricate part on taking Mount Vernon worldwide. And we did his sister's Sweet 16 birthday party in the basement of his house. And as we were setting up the turntables and just playing around before the party started, he came downstairs and seen what we was doing. He went back upstairs, got his mother and father, came back downstairs and said, Mom, Dad, this is what I want to do right here. I want to be like them right here. This is what I want to do. And he was way younger than us. So we looking at him like, get away from me, kid. You're bothering us, man. We got work to do. You're bothering us. He formed his own little crew, and next thing you know, they blew up. But you're talking about like maybe 4 or 5 years later. When Hev came on the scene in 1980, 81, we was already doing it for 7, 8 years. You know, we had graduated to doing wedding receptions and cocktail sips and retirement parties and things like that, you know. So, I mean, big up to Hev, may he rest in peace, you know, and the Albie Shores and the Jeff Reds, them cats came up on our camp, man, you know. One thing and one thing only, I wanted to be remembered as a person that kept it real, a person that started this hip-hop thing from the infancy. Not by myself, but when day one started with hip-hop, I mean, when we was doing what we was doing back in the early stages, hip-hop wasn't even a word. So if I could just go down in the books as, okay, this is one of the pioneers of grassroots hip-hop, then that would be nice. And last but not least, that system, man, the Collins Brothers system. If that can go down in legacy, if they could just put us somewhere, maybe in the archives or somewhere. I mean, I don't know if you know, we're in Cornell University. We up there, in the archives up there, Collins Brothers. Us and Cold Crush and Infinity Squad, we all in there. We all in there. And Rockin' Rob, we're Rob. Rob is over there. He's in there too. And that same party, the Meme Machine.